Do you ever have the feeling that you're kind of psychic or that your intuition leads you in certain directions and you wish you could just make it stronger and better and know exactly how to make the right decisions all the time? My guest today is going to show us precisely how to do that. Marianne DeMarco is an internationally recognized psychic medium, healer, and spiritual teacher who provides guidance, counseling, and mentorship to celebrities and students around the globe. As an expert, she's been featured across multiple platforms, including The New York Times, The Dr. Oz Show, Women's Health, Elle, and more. Her newest book, Medium Mentor, is available now. Marianne, thank you so much for making time. Come on, woman. This book, it's so fantastic. I enjoyed it so much. I have so many things that are underlined. And I just felt, first of all, I adore you as a human being. And I felt your voice so clear through this. But there was also a lot of moments for me personally that I was like, oh, I learned so much from reading this. And we're going to dive into some of that. But first, I love that you've shared, I balance my chakras and I talk to the dead, but I'm just not that weird about it. And I know that you came to serving as a psychic almost by accident. So for folks that don't know you, can you share a little bit about how you got to where you are now and why specifically you wanted to write this book?
Yeah, I would love to do that. And thank you. And I love you too. And I'm so happy to be here. I really thought this was very normal for many years of my life. I was very fortunate to grow up with a mom who thought this was just part of our everyday, learning about ascended masters, learning about higher levels of consciousness, learning to meditate at a very young age. So I always knew I had psychic abilities. I didn't exactly know how to use them. Later on in life, and I stuck with this my whole life, but later on in life, in my 30s, I was going through a really rough time. My life was just turned upside down with divorce and grief and trying to manage my two young children through this and really learning parts about myself that I just forgot about and had to relearn them and like, what is going on? I wound up in the hands of this beautiful woman named Pat Longo. And I thought I was making an appointment to see a psychic medium. But actually, when I made the appointment, she is a healer and she teaches people how to do this. And almost automatically, Marie, I was like, oh, I think I'm supposed to see you now. I think this is it. I think all of these years that I have been feeling all of this energy around me, the weird dreams, the nudging, the feeling like someone standing next to me, the things that I heard, I realized that it was at that moment that through my unraveling moment, I was about to be put together with spirit. And I was really excited about that. So I started taking classes and within just a few weeks, I was reading.
That's incredible. And
Yeah,
so
cool.
you had, right, a whole other career before this. I mean, you were in retail. It was like a completely different life.
Totally different life. I thought I had business background. I was in retail management. I was in sales. And then I stayed home with my children for many years. And I was starting to feel like, okay, what's next? My children were getting a little older and I was started trying to figure out how to balance my time. And I thought, well, this will be really nourishing for me. So I just took it like this was something that I always wanted to learn how to do. I never in a million years thought it would be to the extent that I'm doing it now.
And so tell me about this book, because this is really helping all of us, or for anyone who feels like they want to develop their sense of intuition even more powerfully, or they want to take it to that next level. And they too feel they have psychic abilities, different abilities that aren't necessarily in the quote unquote mainstream quite yet. I think more so now than ever, but who may want to go on a professional path. So tell me about the inspiration behind this book.
I started getting people coming to me that were just hungry for this information, really wanting to know, how can I do this? And it's the reason why I wrote my first book too, but this was different. This was about that deeper connection of utilizing these abilities within your everyday life and for others, if that's what you wanted to do, if that's what you chose to do. And honestly, sitting in meditation with my guides, I kept hearing, wake them up, show them how, you should teach them. And it was just a repetitive theme. And, my job is to listen to what my guides say and to go with that flow. And that's what I did. I was very excited to write this book because my hope is that it will do exactly that, help people navigate through their lives within business, personal life, their own psychic abilities, grieving, whatever emotion it is that they have that they're looking to connect, whatever level it is. And I'm hoping that this is a great starting point for many people.
Yeah. And I think it will be. And I love it because it's in such normal everyday language. And again, you are a normal everyday person. We're both very Italian American. We have our conversations where it's just throwdowns, and then we can go into these other realms.
Mm-hmm.
So you also share this, and I believe this too, that everyone is psychic, that everyone possesses the abilities, but few develop them without instruction or mentorship. And I love that you make the point, we're all born with intuition, and we're all born with the ability to pick up on other people's energy and feelings. Mm-hmm. And I know specifically for my audience, so many of us, and I feel like I've been an empath my whole life. I've been very intuitive my whole life. It's part of the reason why I do my coaching, and part of how I do it is tapping into that sense of being able to feel into other people, mm-hmm. what's happening, reflect, and then support them. But there's something that you wrote that really stood out to me. You said, empaths often feel like they suffer because they take on other people's energy. And I love that you followed up with this. The issue in this case isn't an abundance of empathy. It's a lack of boundaries. And I was like, that was a huge moment, because I think at certain points in my own life and throughout my career, I have not had good boundaries. Mm-hmm. And the taking on of energy, I didn't know how to deal with it. So I want to be quiet and hear your perspective on this, because I think it's going to be of huge service to many people listening and watching right now.
Thank you. It was one of the greatest lessons I've learned through doing this work, because coming off of many years of being a people pleaser, many years of only being good as my last sale, taking in the vibe of a room and really ingesting it, becoming kind of a chameleon of the energy, I didn't realize that it was okay to say no, not only in my active physical life, but in my spiritual life too. And telling my guides, my loved ones on the other side, help me be grounded, protect me, allow me to say no and feel really good within this flow and within this energy. And we are all born with this divine gift. We all have this empowerment within us. We're full of light. We are the light. We're part of this energy. To be able to navigate that and truly understand how to use that tool was one of the most greatest gifts this work has given me. And I was very excited to share it with other people, because like you, it was a light bulb that went off for me. It was like, oh, I can not only put boundaries around myself, I can control my reaction in a way that serves me better, and then in turn, change the climate of a room. And that can happen from the boardroom to the bedroom to whatever room you want it to be. You can really work on changing that energy to just have this more beautiful flow. My advice is that everybody learn how to do that in the most effective way possible, the most authentic way possible to you.
Yeah. And you obviously walk through, there's so many techniques in the book, very specific exercises that you walk people through. And we're not going to have the time to be able to go through them today. That's why you need to get your hands on this here book. But I also want to back that up and follow it up with the other thing that's so wonderfully refreshing about your work, Marianne, is you're very much into DIY spirituality. In terms of these particular practices, you'll lay out a suggestion. Hey, here's how I do it. This is something that can get you started, but please tweak this, make it your own so it feels comfortable for you, your particular experience, your beliefs, your background, so that you can tap into this incredible energy, right? And to create these practices, not that you're following somebody else's dogma, but that you're really accessing all of the information, the wisdom, and the energy that's available to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to feel like yourself when you're doing any type of practice. It has to suit you in some way. I spent a lot of time trying to fit in some sort of box that people wanted me to be in. I don't know. I thought maybe should I have a crystal ball? Do I need like some sort of I don't know what it was supposed to look like. So I spent a lot of years thinking, oh, I think it's supposed to look like this because that's how this person does the practice. Yeah. It was so freeing to let go of that and just be me. And so, I am really normal and casual about it because that is my personality when it comes to this type of work. Anybody can take whatever suits them from many different practices, backgrounds, religions, whatever that looks like for you, and formulate your own style of this practice. Now that work doesn't feel like work. It feels cathartic. It's a relief and feels like something that always existed within you anyway.
Yeah, and it feels so natural and almost fun. The past few years for me, I have been practicing more intentionally, connecting with not only my guides, spirit, universe, source, God. I use all of them because it all feels like it works at different points and at different times. And it is remarkable, the dialogue and the strengthening of my own abilities that I didn't even know was possible. And I think the other thing that's so exciting about your work, Marianne, is, I think sometimes many of us in life believe that you're either born with an ability or you're not, and I had this for myself specifically around singing. I had this belief, and it was a mistaken belief, that you either are born, being able to sing just amazingly. And I didn't think you could actually train it or learn it. And I think what's so incredible about this work is the fact that we all have intuition and we all have certain abilities that are probably underdeveloped. And should this be of interest to you, should this be something you feel called to do, that there's a legitimate path to strengthening these gifts.
Oh, absolutely. Just like any muscle.
Yeah.
Right. We're going for a marathon. We want to train for that marathon. We want to learn how the body works. And it's the same thing with your intuition. It is, you are entitled to use it. If you want to access it, go right ahead. And there's so many ways that you can sharpen that tool and really, like we were speaking about before, really making it authentically you, but getting better and better at it. Learning when it shows up, and then it becomes instinctual.
That's right. And I feel like I'm teetering in that level, and I'm like ready to go to my next level, which I want to talk about the first of 10 techniques really that you focus on in the book. And I love that you share, if we really want to develop our intuition and our psychic gifts, is that we have to check our egos, right? Is that number one?
I think it is number one. It is number one.
So can you say more about why that is so critical and why you put it in the first spot?
I put it in the first spot because most of my students that come to me think that they are not worthy of doing this work. And they come in with doubt and fear attached to their ego. And the ego will always be present. It's always going to show up. But if we ask it to just step aside for a moment and we thank it for showing up and we recognize it, we're like, all right, I see you. But I know that this exists within me anyway. We start to, and then go in tandem. We work with it. It's one of the first skills because it always shows up. We want to get it right. We want to get the information right. We want to please others while we're doing it. We're frantic to learn our service. Maybe we're not trusting divine timing. This all can fall under ego. And when we surrender to that and we learn how to utilize it more as a superpower, I like when mine shows up because then I know I can get to work and learn some more. We then just start to ease through the practice a little bit more. I honestly feel like it starts to develop those really early stages of trust too, with your universal team and with energy and mostly with yourself and your abilities.
Hey, real quick, if you are loving these tips, then you are going to love my free audio coaching program even more. It's called How to Get Anything You Want. And inside, you're going to learn 3 proven steps to turn any dream into reality. I'm not kidding. Go to marieforleo.com/subscribe. That's marieforleo.com/subscribe. Go do it now, and I'll see you there. So I love that you wrote this. If we're shaming and judging ourselves, we can know for sure that ego has taken over. And this was another line that I underlined in your book. And I love what you told the story, that in the past that you've shied away sometimes from other mediums. When you perceive an activation in your own ego, you feel yourself getting stressed out and like you have to keep up. So I want you to first share, because I have so much to say about this. Can you share how you navigate situations like this? If you're around someone, and again, they could be a lovely person, right? But you feel that sense of competitiveness within yourself and it just starts to feel disgusting.
Yeah.
What do you do in those kind of situations?
Competitiveness is probably one of the deepest parts of my ego. Just a natural competitive person. I always have been, not really with other people. I just play sports. And like I said, I had sales background, so it does show up. What I learned early on is gratitude. Gratitude, paying a compliment, seeing the accomplishments of somebody else, what somebody else is experiencing is a reflection of what I myself would like to achieve. And so then it becomes inspiring instead of competitiveness. I've changed my perception on it. I changed my reaction to it. And then the whole energy and shifts changes. And it's one of the tough ones. This is not easy. I want to add, the ego is a lot of work, but when you get good at it, you just keep sticking with it and it allows for more consistency within your practice. You don't get shamed away. You kind of don't do that to yourself. I spent a lot of time like, oh, what's wrong with you? And you calm down, or, talking myself off the ledge. When I started to have a conversation with my guides and with spirit, or I would meditate on it, or I would write about it, I saw myself moving into spaces of gratitude and learning how to work with it. And then the expansion of yourself continues on, and you start to hear with more clarity. It's one of the most important parts of the work, I think.
I want to share something that you wrote, because I found this to be incredibly not only honest, but also I think really helpful, especially if anyone listening finds themselves in one of those places. And given the platforms that most people are plugged into 24/7, right? For anyone that participates in social media and who is any type of creative artist or entrepreneur, they are comparing themselves literally dozens of times a day. So I have no doubt that people are like, yep, like there's hands being raised all over. And I love that this is one of the things that you shared as a pathway to moving through it, that you thank your guides for showing you where your ego needs a little tune up. Then you ask your guides that, or maybe the universe, and again, you can correct me if I'm misquoting you here. You ask that the other person be well, happy, and find love and success in life, and that they be removed from yours. That just made me so happy, because again, you could want the best for someone.
Absolutely.
And you do not have to force yourself to be friends with or be around that person.
You don't.
Say more.
They might not want to be around you. Who knows? We can move into the space of I need to be liked.
Yes.
Right? I need to be liked can activate your ego too. I ask people to be removed for the greater good of all concerned, always, with safety and with light around them. But if I continue to see it activating my ego, or I am continuing to see their ego within themselves, and it's not judgment, it's just an energy shift. It's not serving me well. It's probably not serving them well. And so, yeah, you can say to spirit, universe, God, whatever that is for you, your source, please allow this person to be removed from my life. And I want them to go with ease and with safety and love around them. And it is absolutely magical how that happens.
It's one of the kindest and best ways, right? That you can say,
yes,
okay.
See on the flip side, like it's
That's
okay.
right.
We don't need to be here together. It's totally fine.
So, and I want to drill down too, because I think this is a topic that's so important, and it's so important. It's a continuous lesson for all of us. You had mentioned, in terms of disarming your ego, gratitude. You have 3 that you specify in the book. Gratitude is 1, which we've talked about. 2, surrendering expectations. This was another place where I underlined, Marianne. I love, and I wrote this, trade expectations for hope. You wrote, expectations come with need. Hope does not.
Hope is endless.
Yes.
It's vast. When I put expectations, I'm terrible with disappointment. Oh, I'm not good with it. So I decided, all right, well, that means you just keep putting expectations on everything. Let's stop that. And let's just go with hope. When you lean into hope, you open your world to so much more. You open, and you're trusting your guides in that they may be opening more doors for you than you ever could have imagined. Expectations come with limitations.
Yes, that's right. Because it's, I expect it to happen this way in this particular time with the image that I have in my head, which 9 times out of 10, it is born from an idea that we learned in the past.
That's right.
And as you said, it is limited, or it's coming from a smaller part or a more frightened part of our ego that thinks it needs to be this particular way. And if it isn't this particular way, then I am not going to be happy. And I've found in my own life so many times when I'm like, open my hands, I'm going to let Jesus take the wheel. What comes through is a gajillion times better. I'm even going through something right now, which I'm going to tell you about after we get off this recording. I'm not going to say it on the thing because I want to see how it actually, things aren't signed or whatever, but it's literally another one of those mind-blowing. And as you say, some people are like, this is going to sound crazy. And Marianne's like, no, it's not. Look who you're talking to. But my point is this notion of surrendering our expectations. It is super powerful.
I always say, yes, it's super powerful. I always say, if you're manifesting, do it with hopefulness. I don't love too much of an exact manifest. I like it a little open-ended.
Yes.
Right? We want to be specific, but more open-ended than that. And then set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Set it and forget it. You did it. All right. This is what I'm aiming for, because your guides are like, you're so cute. That's fantastic. I have so much more for you. I have so much more for you.
That request is adorable, but like hold on to your hot pants, and if you stop pushing,
let me show you what we can do here. And Marie, it's amazing.
Yes.
It's also a relief. It's also a relief to surrender that type of control. We let it go.
For control freaks, again, raising my hand, right? So much of my life, oh my gosh, have tortured myself, and other people, of course. Hey, are you feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, or just drowning in busy work and still not making the money you deserve? In this brand new training, you're going to learn 3 super common mistakes that can kill your productivity and tank your profits, and how to stop them fast. Just go to marieforleo.com/free class or scan the QR code on your screen right now. Striving to control outcomes. Like, dude, that was my MO. And I am finding this to be so much more pleasurable. And it's great for my stress levels. It's fantastic. I'm like, oh, I don't got to worry about it. Like, it's handled.
It's being handled. And you're an active player. You're still an active player.
That's right.
You're still saying yes. Spirit's coming to you, not with answers, with breadcrumbs, with hints, with guidance.
With
and you're
nudges.
Yes, with nudges.
My body literally gets, the other day, again, I will tell you this, but it's like I was physically pulled, not physically, right? But it was like my body was moved in a particular direction, and I heard certain things, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to follow. Which brings me to, I want to talk about the clairs. So will you explain what the clairs are and just walk us through the different ways that we can sense or receive information again? Because for folks listening right now, especially if they've only had that slight feeling, you know what I mean? And maybe the thought of anyone, even them being potentially psychic or even developing their intuition, it's like a bridge too far.
Yeah. The clairs, what I want to say about the clairs is we can call them clairs, but we're extending them to the senses. Really what I'm saying to you is pay attention to all of the senses when you are looking to connect with spirit. That's one of the most important things that I've learned. I see a lot of students and a lot of people who are trying to connect, especially to their loved ones on the other side, Marie, they're trying to hear them or they're trying to see them. Well, you might feel them with that inner knowing, right? You might sense them around. You might smell things that remind you of them. Maybe you're smelling perfume, or you're, smelling smoke, if they were a smoker, or whatever that may be.
Or meatballs.
Sunday sauce. I mean, you never know. You might be smelling that. Use all of the senses. You're knowing, you're hearing, you're seeing, your clairvoyance with the third eye, paying attention to dreams, paying attention to signs and symbols that can come to you. All of this, whether it's your loved ones or not, it's not just a single connection. This is a connection that you can use for all of the universe, God, like I said, guides, whatever it is for you, whatever it is authentically for you. But I highly encourage that you use all of the senses when you are trying to connect with spirit. And then you open yourself up to just receiving the most incredible messages in many, many different ways. When I first started listening to spirit, I heard them a lot, but I felt them viscerally. I thought, wow, there's something here that I'm supposed to be paying attention to, that pulling and that knowing. And I just don't want anyone who's listening, don't limit yourself to what you think it should look like. We go back to that. Open yourself up to receiving in many different ways. I have a lot of students who say, I think I'm crazy, but I could have sworn, so-and-so was standing next to me. And I'm thinking, no, you're not crazy. They were. Just accept it and trust that you have the senses and the ability to connect.
Yes. And so I'm definitely clairaudient, and I think I'm all of them, but this one, it happens to be probably one of the strongest at the moment. And the 6 simple words that were told to you that now I will never forget. Can you share them for anyone else who
is it spirit comes in your own voice?
Yes, it is.
Spirit comes in your own voice. It is not some weird disembodied voice. For many years before I learned how to do this, I thought it was hello. Can you hear us, Miriam? We are coming from above. And it's not that at all, thank God, because that would just make me want to run away and hide and be scared. I don't know, be under my blanket. It is this inner voice. It is the inner knowing of that voice that exists, by the way. When you're in prayer, let's say for argument's sake, and you want to receive the word of your higher power, it will come to you in that same way. It is that inner knowing of the inner word, and that is your clairaudient listening and claircognizance too, where you're kind of paying attention again to that inner knowing and feeling. And that was life-changing for me. I really, my Pat Longo is this tiny, tiny little woman, and I am all of 5'9", and I really just almost pushed her and was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like it was like she unlocked the biggest secret.
Well, we have all of these ideas, right? If it goes back to kind of almost classical, almost like a parody of an idea, like you said, like a disembodied voice or these kind of weird, creepy things. And it's like, no, it's your own voice in your own head.
It's your own voice kind of coming in. They're activating you. They're using all of your frame of references to be in connection with you too. So dreams, movies, music,
songs,
yes.
Can I tell you, it was like a few weeks ago and I was like, what? And when I realized the song and the lyrics, I'm like, I haven't listened to this song in a long time. And it was playing on a loop. I had not heard it, anything. And then I realized, I was like, oh, it's the lyric. Oh, it's exactly what I'm supposed to do right now. And I shared this story with Josh and he like pulled up the song and we listened to it and we were both dying laughing because every single lyric was so applicable to me. And now it's like, but it comes through songs and those personal references. Josh was having some type of skin thing that he was going through because he didn't realize he was allergic to something. I literally walked down, Marianne, and a word came out of my mouth that I had never, and it was the name of a particular He's like, what did you just say? And I said, I heard this supplement that you're supposed to take. And we were both like, he's like, how? I was like, I don't know how I knew it, but it came in and we were laughing so hard because it's like,
it's contagious. It's contagious. You've been hanging around with me. It's contagious. When you don't deny the gift, when you say to yourself, this is a real thing and this is happening.
Yes.
There is no going back because spirit loves to come in and validate it for you.
Yes.
They love to come in. I always tell them, like, no, you're just showing off. They love to come in and show me, even in my moments of doubt, they'll come in and be like, look, let us show you what's really going on here. The beauty of what you did, Marie, is that you listened and you didn't hold back and you didn't question it. You didn't let that ego rise up and say, I think I'm crazy, or, and everybody does it. Everybody starts off going, I don't know, maybe I'm making this up, but you're not. And when you go with it, that's it. The magic happens. I'm in awe of it every day.
Oh, I love it. It's so much fun too. So, okay, I want to talk about fear now because you have this fantastic story about the lesson that spirit had to teach you about fear through some intense imagery and some rats. Can you tell us that? No, because I think the metaphor is so incredibly important. And I want people to hear this from you because if they get nothing else, but they get this metaphor and this image, it will serve their life.
I do not like rats. I have a thing. I worked in the lower levels of Manhattan and had some quite experiences with rats. And it's a thing. I went into this meditation really with a different intention. I think I had gone in maybe to, hear some guidance about, soul contracts or whatever deep thing that I was looking to do. And my guides put me in a corridor of doors. And I was walking down the doors and one of these guides opened up this door for me. And there they were, these two nasty rats fighting each other. And it was really clear. And I stood there and watched it, confused at first. And when I walked out of this room and down to a different room and sat and listened to the guidance with my guides, because this is how my life rolls, this is what I do, I heard what would happen if what you saw was fear. So rats representing something that I'm fearful of. And what would you do if you put out food to them? And I thought, well, they would be coming to me. And it was, because when you feed your fear, fear comes. When you feed your fear, fear grows. When you feed your fear, you nourish it, don't you? You're giving it good nourishment to thrive. Starve it. Starve the fear. And I thought, oh, yeah, sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, I got it. I got it really quick. It's not to say that fear will not arise. It does. We are on an earthly realm where fear is part of our lessons and what we have to experience. Nobody comes out unscathed. But when it shows up, I could either choose to really nourish it, or I can choose to work with it in a way that is far more productive, understanding it, writing about it, learning the lesson through it, why it's showing up. Doing that type of work is always a joy. And you can really understand the story, and it works to calm that fear. And then I think you're able to navigate through it.
I just love, though, not feeding it. Like the
Don't feed
imagery
your
of
fear.
not feeding, like put the cheese away.
Put the cheese away.
Put the cheese away.
And let the rats have at it. In other words, fear was fighting itself.
Yes.
You don't need to be part of it. You don't need to add to that storyline. You're going to back out and let it do its thing.
Yep.
And just don't nourish it. Again, another tough lesson, maybe not easy to do, but with practice, it's completely beneficial, and it honestly works, no doubt.
I love that there was sticking on the same topic of, when things are scary and when things are uncomfortable and there's a lot happening in your life. You say that spiritual growth is about leaning into the fear and our willingness to face and see what's there. And here's a line from you. Ask for our guides to show us whatever it is that we're supposed to be learning. I thought there was so much wisdom in that. Ask for our guides to show us whatever it is that we're supposed to be learning. Like, what a beautiful way to take what will inevitably be difficult, challenging, tumultuous, painful situations that we all as human beings will find ourselves in.
Absolutely.
At many points in our journey. And to ask for help to see what it is we can learn from this.
That is how much I trust them. That is how much I want to convey to everybody that you are not alone, that you have a team on the other side that is willing to help you. And if you lean into that fear, because fear can feel very lonely, you will not feel alone. And in the darkest moments of my life, I've had them, pretty deep moments that have brought me to my knees. I have said, what's going on? And sometimes not so eloquently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to your guides like you would talk to anybody else. Feel the emotion in the moment. But I think what it lends to is that you will get your answer. You might not like it. It might be tough. It doesn't make it go away, but you do have a better understanding. And I absolutely do that in all of my fearful moments. And we're talking about not like a scared moment. We're talking about moments that you are working through that have taken hold in your life, and that to me, it's valuable, it's life-changing, and it's helped me through many tough times in my own life. And Spirit really showed me the way and how to do that effectively.
As we wrap up this conversation, which is super fun, by the way, I want to talk about how developing our intuition, developing these connections with information, consciousness, source, beyond what most people do on a day-to-day basis, how it leads to dissolving self-doubt. Because I thought that this was not only, again, accurate from my own experience, but somewhat unexpected, kind of contrarian. Because, again, I feel like it used to be maybe 10, 15, maybe even 20 years ago. There's not that many people that you could hey, you want to talk about, spirit guides and angels and, you know what I mean? Consciousness and the other side. And now I remember I was away with a friend and met a bunch of folks that I had known of peripherally, but everybody's kind of, they're important people and whatever. And within 3 or 4 minutes, I'm like, hey, did you guys see Surviving Death? And I'm talking all this stuff on Netflix and this, that, and the other thing. We're pulling us out, and it became this whole other level of conversation. So I'd love to talk about how, as you developed your mediumship work, you stopped caring what other people thought about you. And then you saw that with your students as well.
When you talk to dead people, you have to let it go. Yeah. So you're going to hear criticism. And then to your point, I've been doing this many years. And back then, it was definitely still, there was a lot of criticism around it. And as I was developing, I realized just how much I did care what people thought in so many areas of my life and how much that was weighing me down and really corrupting my intuition, because I was too engrossed in pleasing people. And I decided to just start to rip off the Band-Aid. And this work started with my personal life. And this work showed me how to do that. When you let that go, first of all, it immediately tunes them out. You sort of don't really hear it as much anymore. But the doubt will always show up. You just know that you have the intuition and the ability to flow through that. Our mind is loud. It's going to come in with doubt. It's going to come in with fear. And it's absolutely going to come in with fear of judgment from others. When you let that go, you free yourself in ways that are endless, in ways that can just change your life on so many different levels. You can live the dream of your joy by letting go of what others think of you, because people just want to dampen that, and that's not your business. So if you feel that this is inspiring you and that your intuition is right there, but you're so concerned about what people think, let it go. Work on that. Have that same dialogue with your guides that we did about fear. What is this intuition? What is this doubt? What is this judgment? Why am I here learning this in this moment? And how can I work through it? And I promise you, your guides will answer you. You just have to do the work in order to get there. We have to be an active member of the team.
Yes.
And it was a big lesson. And it doesn't mean it doesn't rear its ugly head. It does. It just means that I'm so consistent in my practice. And when you have the tools to navigate through it. You see it arises, it becomes instinctual, and you start working with it.
If you're struggling to make progress on your dreams, this free tool is going to help. It's called the Yearly Goals Map. And in just 10 minutes, you're going to get clear on your top priorities and let go of what's keeping you stuck. It's super quick, it's powerful, and you can do it anytime. Get it now at marieforleo.com/yearly-goals, or just scan the QR code on your screen right now. It's like a different texture of feeling too. And I've realized that. And I've realized times when, if I'm a little more rocked back on my heels, I'm so much more interested, right, to hear what other people think of my ideas, or do they like it? Or is this sound good? And when I am more grounded, when I am more connected, I find that I'm like, I don't give a shit. Not in a bad way. It's not in a harsh way. It's just the clarity is so there. And I'm like, even if it sounds, just crazy pants to everyone else. And I will say, I think it's interesting for me personally, and I'm just going to talk about myself here for a minute.
Go right ahead.
When I first started my career, because I think, I didn't know what the hell I was doing or what was going on, but that intuitive sense and that open guidance was so strong. And we were also at a time in the world, right, where I didn't have 2 decades of incoming, taking in, oh my God, every day, a gajillion comments and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And I'm so happy that I've gotten to a place in my life now where I'm like, oh, now I can start to feel and hear the difference, because part of the reason that I'm here is because I listened to myself, and that clarity and that voice was so strong. And then it's been an interesting journey being able to parse through, right? Like, how do I get back to that part of me? Because I've allowed so much in over the years.
You see what serves you and what doesn't serve you so much more clear, that to go back is so against the grain.
Yep.
And working and doing this work for as long as I have, I've had many people want to keep me in a certain type of box. Do this type of reading, do this type of work. But my intuition, that pull, says, no, we're going to do this type of work. When you say yes to that, we go back to boundaries, and you don't compromise on that because it feels so right within you and you don't doubt it. There's no looking back, Marie. You don't look back. You just keep going. And when you resist, you're almost resentful if you have to.
That's right.
That's where that resentment comes in. And so why do that? Don't compromise it and allow yourself into that flow. I think that's beautiful that you learn that, and that we can continue to learn it, by the way, like I said, because it's polarizing.
That's
Judgment
right.
is polarizing, and it's going to come at you. Again, we go back to techniques and tools that help you navigate through it.
Yeah. This is awesome. I love it. I'm so excited because I think that this is really a movement towards, and for me, I've always been a coach that, I'm like, look, I don't have all the answers, but I know you got yours. And one of the things I'm really good at is helping people find their own clarity, right? And strengthen that essence of who they are so that that confidence level and that clarity just keeps getting stronger. I'm like, you don't need me. I'm just here with a little bit of training wheels at the beginning, and then boom, you go. So what I love about your work, and I love about this work in specific, is it's like, hey, it's helping people access what they already have inside, what they were born with, all of those incredible gifts, and to be able to use that on a daily basis because they know what's in their highest and best if they have the courage to listen to it. And there's all the love and the support and the insight and the creativity. It's like bubbling out of them. We just kind of live in a society where that hasn't been taught or prioritized or, glorified to the level that it needs to be.
There's such a mysticism around psychic mediumship.
Yeah.
And the point of demystifying it and having it just be really normal. Not only that, telling people you don't need a psychic medium in order to connect to your loved one on the other side. And you don't need a psychic medium in order to navigate your life. By all means, go to one. It's a great experience and I encourage you to do it. But allow it to be a starting point for your own growth. And your own abilities, because it is something that we were taught to forget. And the universe right now is reminding us, not ever so gently, by the way, sort of in your face, to figure it out and make that connection and do it for yourself, because it is something that not only will you have for you, but you'll extend it through your service for others. You can really pay it forward. Yeah. And I think that's a really beautiful thing.
I adore you. Anything else you want to say as we wrap up today? This was awesome, by the way. You're fantastic.
Thank you so much. I love being here and I love you so much. And I just hope that people, pick up the book. I've said it and forget it. I'm sort of like, I was drawn to do it. I put it out there and I hope everybody really enjoys it and finds the power within themselves to make their own personal connection.
Adore you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. You're the best.
Love you. Thanks.
Hey, if you loved this video, you need to watch this one next. Trust me on that.